Good morning, scholars, and welcome back to our study of the animals and habitats. Our learning goal today says, I can compare and contrast the tropical rainforest habitat with the temperate deciduous forest habitat. So recently we've been studying different habitats around the world. I wonder if you can remember what shape the globe is actually. The Earth. What shape is the Earth? Did you say it was a sphere? Good job. I knew you did. So I have my globe sitting next to me, and I really wish I could show you a picture of it. But I'm not able to show you the globe because my camera doesn't do that. But I'm looking at this Earth right here, and it looks like a flat sheet of paper. Now, I like this picture because it kind of shows the rounded edges. All right. But you can't really spin it around like a regular globe. But what I brought up here was a picture of the equator right here. So the equator is this line right here. Now, we don't actually see an equator if we were out in outer space looking down at the Earth. This is actually an invisible line. It's imaginary. The land and the water near this equator stay very warm year-round. Do you think a temperate deciduous forest would be found near the equator? Why do you think that? No, you're right, because it gets cold during the winter in temperate deciduous forests, but this area never gets cold. This next read aloud is about a different kind of forest that is located near the equator, where it always stays warm and wet all year long. This type of forest is called the tropical rainforest. The particular rainforest that Rattenbarrel will visit today is called the Amazon rainforest, and it's located on this continent right here. Can you remember what continent that is? If you can't remember it, it says the name of the continent right here. Right, South America. It covers more than 1.4 billion acres right here, this part right here, and the following countries: Brazil, Peru, Colombia, Venezuela, Ecuador, Bolivia, Ghana, Suriname, and French Guiana. Listen carefully to learn about one example of a tropical rainforest, the Amazon rainforest. Hello there, Rattenbarrel reporting from a fascinating habitat, a habitat that has the greatest variety of plants and animals of any habitat on Earth. Welcome to the tropical rainforest. Tropical places are warm and wet. A rainforest is a thick forest of plants that stay green year-round. So a tropical rainforest is a warm, wet, thick forest of plants that stay green year-round. There are tropical rainforests in many places around the world closer to the equator. But the one we are visiting is called the Amazon rainforest. It's in South America, and it is the largest tropical rainforest on Earth. The Amazon rainforest is so dense that a rat like me could easily get lost. Dense means thick. The plants in the tropical rainforest are thick because there are so many growing closely together. It's hot and very humid here. The temperature is always very warm, and it rains heavily all year long. Because of the warm temperature and rain, the air feels wet or humid. My fur is feeling very wet and sticky, and it's a good thing that I brought my umbrella. There are between 80 and 240 inches of rainfall here every year. That makes this one of the wettest places you can find on land. Temperate deciduous forests, which you learned about in the last time, have broadleaf trees that lose all their leaves in the fall. The Amazon rainforest also has broadleaf trees. But the main difference is that most of the trees here stay green all year long. The evergreen trees in this tropical rainforest replace their leaves gradually throughout the year as the leaves age and fall. So the tree always looks green and never have bare branches like the trees in the temperate deciduous forest. Because the climate here is the same all year round, plants do not need to slow down for winter weather. and the animals that live here always have a good supply of food all year too. Take a look around. The trees in the rainforest are so tall that they grow as tall as 13-story buildings, or as tall as a very, very tall buildings or skyscrapers in the large cities. And some grow much taller than that. I'm standing in a tree right now, and as you can see, the trees grow so thickly and so close together here that from above you can see only a canopy of thick green leaves. You can't see the forest floor at all. A canopy is something that blocks out the sunlight. In a tropical rainforest, the canopy is the highest layer of plants formed by the tallest tree's leaves. The plants in the Amazon rainforest have adapted to this climate in many ways because it's too dark in the rainforest underneath the canopy. Most plants have large leaves so they can catch as much light as possible. Many of the plants have waxy leaves with ends that are tapered to help the water drip off them, like the water running off my umbrella. Many types of vines grow on the rainforest. Vines are climbing plants that grow on trees or wind themselves around the tree trunks. Many animals use the vines growing among the trees almost like sidewalks and ladders to cross from one tree to another. The rainforest floor is a very shady place, which means it is a good habitat for mosses and fungi that don't need much sunlight. If you can believe it, there are even some plants that don't need any light to grow at all to grow. They grow on the forest floor and get their energy from the rotting leaves instead of the sunlight. I'm way up in a particular type of tree found in the Amazon rainforest called a Copic Tree. So high that you won't be able to see me. The Copic Tree is one of the tallest trees around. The Copic has a very long trunk, and its branches and leaves form a canopy over the plants and animals below, making a good shelter for animals like birds, snakes, and monkeys. There are also many different kinds of animals that call the Amazon rainforest home. Many types of interesting and colorful birds, frogs, insects, reptiles, and other animals live in the trees and other plants of the tropical rainforest. These huge toucans use their beaks to cut fruit from branches and to eat lizards, as well as other birds. Right here, this is a toucan. Macaws, which are kind of a parrot, travel in groups and use their hooked beaks to break into hard nuts and fruits. So this right here is the macaw. And you don't want to get too close to the poisonous arrow frog, which has poisonous skin to protect it from its predators. Right here. Ooh, yeah, I wouldn't want to get close to that. I'm back in the Copic Tree, one of the very tallest trees in the forest, to see what kind of animals call this habitat home. I forgot. What is a habitat? Oh, right. A habitat is a place where there are food, water, and shelter. Over there, I can see a squirrel monkey. The squirrel monkey is a very friendly little animal, and it shares lots of things in common with the squirrels that live in the temperate deciduous forests. The squirrel monkey is very small and has a very long, thin tail that it uses to help it balance. It has strong legs that it uses to jump and run, and claws which help it climb up and down trees and vines. In fact, squirrel monkeys are so good at traveling by leaping and running along branches that they hardly ever touch the forest floor. The squirrel monkey is an omnivore. It eats insects, fruits, and flowers and spends most of its time during the day moving around the forest to find food. The squirrel monkey has excellent eyesight, which is useful for finding small insects, fruits, and berries growing among the green leaves of the tropical rainforest trees. Squirrel monkeys live in large groups, making it harder for their predators, eagles, and snakes to get them. Now, this monkey is acting a little strange, and experience has told me that this kind of behavior usually means that there's trouble on its way. Ah, yes. Look who's coming. Some kind of snake. Snakes also tend to eat rats, so I'm going to climb a bit higher and take a look from a distance. Wow, look at the size of this snake. It's a boa constrictor, one of the many kinds of snakes that live in the Amazon rainforest. It's a pretty big snake. This one's about 13 feet long. Boas can have slightly different coloring and patterns on their skin. Patterns are repeated shapes or designs. But they are well camouflaged in the trees, plants, and vines of the forest. So then you can't even see them because they blend in. This boa constrictor, like all snakes, is a carnivore. It eats other animals such as bats, which are its favorite food, rodents, yes, rats included, lizards, birds, and even the small squirrel monkeys. The boa constrictor is mostly nocturnal, so it comes out to hunt when it's getting dark, like now. Snakes can eat animals that are much bigger than they are. This boa's jaws open very, very wide, so that when it finds an animal to eat, even animals such as birds and squirrel monkeys, it will be able to swallow it whole. Can you imagine swallowing your food without chewing it? Yeah, you would probably choke on it. That's not a good idea. The boa constrictor is not the only carnivore in the rainforest. In fact, it will have to watch out that it doesn't become dinner for a hungry jaguar like this one. Jaguars look a lot like leopards. They have tan fur with dark spots, but they are bigger than leopards, with shorter tails and legs, and bigger heads and paws. This jaguar is about 7 feet long and probably weighs around 200 pounds. Jaguars are very well adapted to living in the rainforest. They have very sensitive hearing and an excellent sense of smell. A jaguar can see very well during the day and at night. All these things make it easier to find, stalk, and catch its prey. The word stalk here means to foul. I can barely hear the jaguar moving through the forest. That's because its paws are covered with very thick fur with pads on the bottoms. Because they can travel so quietly, jaguars don't have to run far to catch their prey. So instead of having long legs for running, they have short, strong legs that are good for pouncing on other animals from the ground, from trees, or in the water. A jaguar spends most of the day resting and goes out to hunt at night. It's also very good at climbing trees, which means I should get out of here before it's able to sniff me out. I've moved to the bottom of the Copic Tree onto the forest floor because there's one last very interesting animal I want to show you. We'd better hurry, it's getting dark, and I may have to use my flashlight to show you. These are leafcutter ants. These can burrow underground and make nests in groups called colonies. Different ants in the colony have different responsibilities. There are worker ants, soldier ants, and their queen. The worker ants are traveling to the Copic Tree nearby where they will use their sharp claws to bite off pieces of the leaf to bring it back to the nest. Did you know that ants can carry up to 10 times their own body weight? That's pretty amazing, isn't it? The soldier ants are there to protect the worker ants on their way to and from the nest. These ants spend most of their lives working for food. Nature is amazing, isn't it? Well, it's really quite dark now, and my fur has been sticking to me since we got here. So I think it's time to leave this hot and humid Amazon rainforest. We've learned a lot about this exotic habitat, its climate, and the plants and animals that have their different homes here. Now for someone really different. All right. What is a tropical rainforest? Go ahead and pause the video and tell somebody what a tropical rainforest is. All right, did you tell somebody what a tropical rainforest is? I'll bet you said a forest that stays warm and wet and green all of the time. It has many different types of plants and animals. Why is it dark on the ground floor of the tropical rainforest? I think that was way up here. Let's show the picture of that. There it is. The canopy made by the leaves of the tall trees blocks out most of the sunlight. So how have the plants adapted to live in the tropical rainforest? Yeah, they reach for the sunlight or need little sunlight. They have large leaves to collect the sunlight. They have waxy leaves to allow for runoff of the water. And the trees have large roots. Let me scroll down to right here. What animal is this? Yes, he's a squirrel monkey. What food does a squirrel monkey eat in the tropical rainforest? Yes, it eats insects, fruits, and flowers. Is the squirrel monkey a carnivore, herbivore, or omnivore? Right, he's an omnivore because he eats both meat, animals, and vegetables. Where do you think the squirrel monkey might find his shelter in the tropical rainforest? Well, he's in the trees, so that's where he finds his shelter. Well, let's take a look at this picture right here. What animal is this? Yeah, a boa constrictor. What food does a boa constrictor eat in the tropical rainforest? Yes, it eats small animals. So is the boa constrictor a carnivore, herbivore, or omnivore? It is a carnivore because it eats animals. Where do you think the boa constrictor might find his shelter in the tropical rainforest? You're right, it does show a picture of him in the trees. And the trees are one place, but he could also find it underneath the plants on the forest floor. He would blend right in there, wouldn't he? What animal is this? Yes, it's a jaguar. What food does a jaguar eat in the tropical rainforest? Yeah, it eats small animals, including rat and burrow. Is the jaguar a carnivore, or an herbivore, or an omnivore? Yes, it's a carnivore because carnivores eat meat. What adaptations does a jaguar have in order to live in the tropical rainforest? Well, the jaguar has sensitive hearing and an excellent sense of smell, and its paws are covered with thick fur so that it can effectively and quietly hunt its prey. In the read aloud, you heard, the trees grow so thickly and so close together here that from above you can only see a canopy of thick green leaves. Say the word canopy with. A canopy is a covering from. A canopy is a covering above an object that blocks out sunlight. There is a canopy over the front door of the store. Have you ever seen a canopy? Can you think of times that it might be helpful to have a canopy? When you talk about it, make sure you're using a complete sentence. Like, I would like a canopy to get to my garage. So I'm going to name two things. You will decide which one is similar to a canopy. Remember, a canopy is above a person or an object in order to cover it. Remember to use the word canopy when you say your answer. The roof of a house or the floor of a house. I hope you said that the roof is like a canopy. A tent or a doormat. I hope you said the tent is like a canopy. A tree's roots or a tree's branches and leaves. I'm sure you said a tree's branches and leaves are like a canopy. An umbrella or rain boots. Here, an umbrella is like a canopy. Conjunctions are a kind of word we use to connect words and phrases. We use the conjunction but to join words and phrases that are different or opposites. Listen to the selections about the jaguar from the read aloud. I will emphasize the word but as I read the selection to you. Jaguars look a lot like leopards. They have tan fur with dark spots, but they are bigger than leopards, with shorter tails and legs and bigger heads and paws. This jaguar is about 7 feet long and probably weighs about 200 pounds. Notice that in this paragraph, Rattenborough used the word but when he talks about the differences between the leopards and jaguars. You hear the word but a lot when we're talking about differences. Drawing and painting are both fun, but painting is a little messier. The word but tells us that we're talking about differences or opposites. Listen to another example. My sister and I look a lot alike, but she is shorter. The word but tells us that we're talking about differences or opposites. I want you to try to come up with a sentence to complete this. So I'm going to say partial sentence, and I want you to repeat the sentence and finish it. So dogs and cats are both animals, but dogs are... How about this one? Apples and bananas are both fruit, but apples are... Kindergarten and first grade are both students, but first graders are... Good job. I'm sure you came up with some great examples, great sentences. For example, you might have said, apples and bananas are both fruit, but apples are red, or apples are round. Right. Good job. I need you to think about the read-alouds that you've listened to today. I want you to draw a picture of an animal from the tropical rainforest. You need to write one sentence. Remember, a sentence has both a capital letter and a punctuation. You can use your good skills that we've been learning to sound out the words for your sentence. I want you to write a sentence with one important fact about the animal in your drawing. When you complete your drawing and your sentence, go ahead and upload it to my Seesaw so I can see how how your work looks. Make sure you check your sentence for capital and a period. Don't forget, your sentence needs to be a complete sentence. All right, until we meet next time, thank you for listening today, and have a great day.